everybody, how's it going? This is Max with BuzzTox here, and I am back with a reaction and review to Westworld Season 4, Episode 8, the finale episode. I couldn't see where they would take this episode because the last penultimate episode felt very much like a finale on its own, but there was still some story to tell. There were some twists that I did not expect that I think really did work. And I did like the ending a lot, and I'm going to dive into it. However, I think that some people will not love the ending because for some people, I don't think it's going to be satisfying enough that the world has ended and hope for humanity has lost. That humanity's existence is really going to exist outside of their real biological form. They are going to exist in another world in Delores' memory. You only live as long as the last person who remembers you. And Delores remembers all of these people who entered the park. And she has this new game that she's developing. I think it's going to be very similar to The Maze, and that's what Season 5 is going to dive into. And I think that's going to be the last season. But we still also get the human perspective. We know the hosts are still on the loose, and Caleb's daughter is still alive, even though we were told that humanity isn't going to survive much longer, and that the world that we know is basically over. So a bit of a downer. But let's start from the beginning and go through each character. First of all, I love this guy. He's awesome. I'm glad that he came back for a cameo. I was really fascinated how they used William in this episode. They used him as the pure villain that had to be stopped because he was going to make his way to the Valley Beyond and corrupt it. So we saw Charlotte come back and make a decision that the world that she wanted will not exist. And she essentially has to put faith in Delores. So we watched William be the complete man in black. And he claimed here, and it's a true statement, that he really isn't William. He's someone in his perspective who's better. He's someone who's different. It's just like how Charlotte is not really Charlotte Hale. She's Delores whose perspective has been changed and she's become this new individual. It's the same thing with this William. He's been completely manufactured as a weapon. And we get to see that throughout the episode. So we got to see this William die. In the real world, William does not exist, even though I do think he's going to be used next season. And the reason I think that is because Charlotte did what she wanted to do. She stopped William. She was saved by Bernard because he left her a gun that he, I'm sure, saw in the Valley Beyond, and he left that for her. And she ended up putting Delores' mind inside the Valley Beyond, where she is now the dedicated storyteller. And she has a new game in mind to better humanity. But before I dive into that, I just want to say I love how they handled that Delores twist. I love that it was very similar to The Maze in Consciousness. It was a very similar reveal to where Delores, realizing that it wasn't Arnold she was speaking to, it was herself. Whereas this season, it wasn't Teddy she was speaking to. It wasn't her friend she was speaking to. It was herself. It was all herself. And I love that idea that this whole season we were inside Delores' brain. And I was shocked when I saw Charlotte destroy the maze floor and pull out Delores' module. I thought that was a great twist. Now, as of what this means for Westworld, I love to see the return of this world. I think some people are going to have a problem that which is real in the next season is going to be simulated. But that which is real is perspective. And you only live as long as the last person who remembers you, and Delores remembers all of these humans. She still sees the beauty in this world. So she is going to design a game. It ends where you begin, and it begins where you end. And I think it's on the path to prove that humanity has what it takes to thrive and survive. And this is where I think William comes into play. That's the game Ford gave William in the beginning. And I think William is going to be Delores' testament to see if humanity can truly become better. And this post-credit scene we see of William and Emily, his daughter, I think is really William stuck in Delores' game, where he needs to rise above and not be the man in black, but become the true William, a better human. But I feel like the show made it pretty clear that the real world is over. And everything that we're going to be seeing of importance is going to be within the sublime. So in regards to Caleb and his daughter, Caleb most definitely won't make it. In terms of his daughter, I don't know if we're going to follow her next season. She's going to have to survive the host, but we were told that the humans aren't going to live long. But I still did love to see Frankie's escape with Caleb. I loved all the emotional scenes that they had. I actually thought they were really powerful. In terms of the action scenes, I was on the edge of my seat. This was the best choreography I've seen in a Westworld show. It was sad to see Stubbs go, but in terms of all these characters, in terms of Bernard, Maeve, Stubbs, we're going to see them again because they're a figment of Delores' imagination. Delores knows Bernard more than anyone because she created him. She can easily create him again. And that's the thing with Westworld now, is it's really blurring the lines between what is real and what is not. Anyone can truly come back, because now we have a character that was the first host that was ever created. She knows all of these hosts. She can create them all. So it is really interesting to see Delores reach complete God tier, where she is the creation of everything. Now that the world is destroyed, Delores is literally God. Every single thing that exists is because of Delores and from her brain. So that's going to be fascinating to explore in the next season. I don't know how she's going to test these humans, how she's going to validate these humans. Because if someone passes her test and they end up breaking through their core drive of their biology, of survival, then how does she reward that? How do you have a game with true stakes? How do you define true stakes if the world is no longer real? And if these people reach the center of this maze or this game, how are they rewarded? All we know is that they are in an infinite number of worlds, so literally infinite things can happen. I'm interested to see what happens next season. I'm just worried some people will feel like the whole thing isn't worth it because it is all not real. It's kind of like the effect of watching a story and then realizing it was all just a dream. So where I'm a big fan of this episode, I feel like a lot of people might struggle with it. But it was really nice to see Delores come back. It was really nice to see Westworld again. And I think next season I'm really looking forward to seeing the show come full circle, finish off in Westworld. But that is what I think initially about this episode. I'm going to have to give it another watch and really dive into what I think can come next. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.